Michigan Soccer Network, man! DCFC! Woo!
And your Detroit City Football Club.
The sights, the sounds of historic Keyworth Stadium. There's nothing quite like it. Each week, Jonathan Turner and Neil Rule will break down the most recent Detroit City FC USL Championship match, taking a look at the Eastern Conference standings, looking ahead to their upcoming match, and much more. Watch the Detroit City FC recap show each week on the Michigan Soccer Network.
Let's go City on the Michigan Soccer Network.
You are watching the Michigan Soccer Network. Go City!
All right, well, here we are, week number 5 of the recap show. Obviously, week 7 just happened here in the USL Championship. And Neil, we get into this. The Detroit City FC Football Club is 5-0. Is this the dream start?
Yes and no. And here's why I'll say yes, because obviously they're 5-0. They're the last standing unbeaten, undrawn team in USL Championship. So yeah, certainly that's the dream. But I'll also say no because it seems like there's been an identity with what Detroit City FC has done. These matches that they've won, they've all kind of followed a script, I guess you could say. It's been repeatable for Detroit City, and that's why, when you use a connotation, you say dream start, that almost makes it sound like things have fallen into place. They've caught some breaks, all those kinds of things. I don't think it's been that. I think this is the way that Detroit City FC plays. And again, it's been repeatable. It's something that we've seen play out time and time again. They've taken on some injuries. They've still shown depth. So I think when you look at it from that standpoint, yes, obviously anytime you come out, you're the last standing unbeaten, undrawn team in the league. That is a quote-unquote dream start. But the way they've done it, there's nothing magical about it. They've done it, and they've done it again and again and again, 5 times as a matter of fact.
5 times. Well, actually, it's 6-0.
Yeah,
right? We have to include in there also this past Tuesday, a week ago, where Michigan Stars coming into town, and when we were at this game, I had a chance to go there, Neil, and watch it. From the media section on Tuesday. I had never been to a Michigan Stars Detroit City FC matchup. It's something different, right?
Yes.
It's funny. The Northern Guard does not call it a rivalry. It's very interesting. They don't call it a rivalry. I'm going to call it that because it's still a derby, right? But at the end of the day, a very chippy, physical matchup that at times, Detroit City had this thing really in hand. Statistically, they were, I think they had 16, 15 shots to like 3 or 4 of the Michigan Stars. So they really, really controlled the match. They're just unable to really execute in the final third. Finally got a goal in 90th minute plus from Maxi Rodriguez.
No, and that's Maxi, right? That's where Maxi lives. Certainly, he's been one for a lot of magical moments in the U.S. Open Cup. No, but Jonathan, you're a rookie to it. I've been around it for a while. You know what you're going to get when the Michigan Stars come into town, and they're gonna look to pack it in. They're going to look to make it chippy. That's just the way that they operate. So you know what you're going to get from them. All those matches seem to follow a script as well. In the end, Detroit City got the win. They're moving on, and their prize for that is a trip to Houston to play the Houston Dynamo, the defending U.S. Open Cup champions. But no, it was very much on brand for the Michigan Stars and their style of play and what they're looking to do and those kinds of things. But give them credit, I guess. They hung in there and got into the 90-plus minute range with the match still even. But Maxi Rodriguez did what he does, and Detroit City did what they do. When they play the Michigan Stars, they won and they advanced. They're moving on.
I will say this much. So last Tuesday, Neil, we showed up, our crew and I, and we thought that we were dressed appropriate. And it got real cold real quick. And I was so grateful that in the 90th minute plus that Maxi scored that goal because nobody wanted that thing to go to overtime.
No, Maxi's got you. Maxi had everybody out there. I get it, especially now. April, man. Such a volatile weather month. I mean, and again, we saw it this past Saturday at Keyworth as well. That wind, man, is unforgiving. Like, I know it's April, man, but It is. It was chilly on Saturday. I know it was chilly on Tuesday as well. So, Maxi sent everybody home, so good on him.
That it was. Let's take a look here at the matchup and the stats from this past Saturday against the Oakland Roots. And I have the standings up there, so I'll move those off. But, again, looking at this, here's the DCFC Game 5 match report. Oakland Roots coming to town. It was a 3-1 victory here in favor of Detroit City. I get a little, you use the word off-brand or brand a lot here, but so far for the season, off-brand as far as how this game started. Normally we've seen these first 4 matchups, Detroit City FC maybe going down a goal here early in the game, right? And then having to fight their way back and being gritty and being tough. Here, hey, they set the tone early. Ben Morris in the 8th minute.
No, absolutely. And Ben kind of going into a spot, and the injuries that played themselves out in the previous weeks. And Ben Morris, people forget this too. Like, Ben Morris comes in, and he was the leading goal scorer last year for Detroit City FC. For some reason, people forgot that. I don't know why, but it seems as though they did. And he's quality. And he came in, and that was a quality goal that Ben did score in the 8th minute. And that really, too, because Oakland Roots, and look, a lot of times in sports, no matter the sport, I've heard people say this, and I found this to be true. It's not kind of who you play, it's when you play them. And Oakland Roots had a couple players out with discipline issues, and Detroit City FC did what you do to teams that are in that kind of spot. They were up 2-0 through 27 minutes, and it pretty much was a wrap. That match got late early, I guess you could say, for the Oakland Roots. But that's what they did. Detroit City FC came out, and they punished them, and they took the game out of doubt, and they sent Oakland Roots back home, and they got the win, and it was very, very rock solid. The numbers dictate pretty much how the match went. Detroit City FC was the better side from top to bottom in that match, and there wasn't really any doubt, certainly towards the end of that match. And Detroit City, as I like to say, they closed down the club, and they got their 3 points, and they stay unblemished.
Well, and if we look at this too, we've seen this time and time again this year. This is not off-brand. They have been in control of possession for each and every game they've played in. And in a lot of cases, it's not even been close, 63, 64. And in soccer, when you start talking about having the ball 64% of the time, that's a lot. That's a big difference between 51% here in this scenario. But they've been a very good job of possessing the ball, have the Detroit City FC Football Club.
No, and that's what people have to get comfortable with. When around the league, around USL Championship, when you talk about Detroit City, it's not like they pack it in and they pop you on a counter and they get a 1-0 win. These games have all followed a formula. They have been the better side in every one of these matches. And it doesn't matter where the matches have been or anything like that. They have been the better side. Period. End of story. So, it's one of those things for Detroit City FC. The formula plays itself out. The pieces change. And this is what was super encouraging about the match against the Oakland Roots. The pieces changed, no doubt. Big time, the pieces changed. But the script stayed the same. The formula stayed the same. The results stayed the same. And you plug in Ben Morris, and he gets the party going. And then certainly Maxi Rodriguez, when he has a penalty, you know how that's going to end up. And it was a wrap. And then Bezerra came in the 51st minute. That was a quality goal that Bezerra scored as well on loan from Chicago Fire. And certainly he ingratiated himself to the Keyworth faithful out there on Saturday, and it was a lot of fun.
That it was. So Maxi Rodriguez in the 27th, as you mentioned, got converted a penalty shot. 25th minute, I apologize. Converted a penalty shot and got his 3rd goal of the season. And then obviously in the second half, in the 57th minute, Victor Bezerra got his first goal as a Detroit City FC team. So.
Yeah, and Maxi Rodriguez, like that penalty, the keeper guessed right. And it didn't matter. There wasn't a keeper in the world that was stopping that penalty. When you place it there with the pace that he put it in, that was going to be that was predetermined. There was nobody that was stopping that. And then Bezerra, as I talked about, a very quality finish from him. And again, kind of stepping in and replacing some of the parts that were missed. But the show doesn't stop. The show goes on, is what it said in Wolf of Wall Street. And the show went on Saturday, and 3 points was the result.
That's right. Rasmussen did put a consolation goal in for Oakland in the 57th minute, and the game ended 3-1. And hey, the Detroit City FC Football Club is up at 5-0, and we'll take a look here at the standings now here on your screen, and there they are. Detroit City FC currently sitting 3rd at 5-0, 15 points. They are Louisville City FC 5-1. They have 15 points, and Charleston Battery 5-0-3. are sitting there at the top of the table at 18 points.
No, and the biggest thing I see here, and I'll have to start to adjust my line of thinking, but this is just kind of the way I've been programmed over the last couple seasons. I look right down to the playoff line and see Loudoun and Rhode Island at 7 and Detroit City at 15, and we're just barely past tax day. So that's the biggest thing to me. Is you look at it because that's your first goal, right? Obviously everybody wants to win the Eastern Conference, like when you start. But the baseline goal, the cover charge to get in the playoff club, is to finish in the top 8. And Detroit City FC has banked a ton of points in terms of doing that. Excuse me, and certainly that will pay dividends down the road. So you're in a situation now where you're Detroit City FC, and John Krieger and I were talking about this during the broadcast. You just come in at about a point a match pace, and you are in the playoffs already. Like, we can have that discussion now. We're allowed to have that discussion right now, and it is only April. And then certainly you focus your attention. You have 3 matches in hand at Charleston Battery. You have a match in hand with Louge City as well. Now you can talk about getting greedy, and that starts this weekend at Pittsburgh, which I know we'll get into coming up in just a couple of minutes. Now you can talk about getting greedy. Now you can talk about being able to put yourself in a prime position where you're built for the long haul, and you can be a contender to win this Eastern Conference. It's getting real around here. It certainly is getting real.
So anything stand out in these standings here through week 7 that raises some hairs in the back of your neck, or just looking at this and maybe what's going on with the overall league?
No, I mean, I look at Charleston Battery and see what they're doing. That they haven't lost a match. They have 3 draws, and that's the way Charleston Battery is going to be, right? And I know because their identity is if you talk to people around that watch the league and stuff like that, you say that they're kind of grimy. You know, they'll get in there, they're physical and stuff like that. They have some quality. They have some quality. I believe they have a couple of players amongst the league leaders in the goals department as well. Louge City's very on brand. You know what you're getting with them. Birmingham Legion, this is how they have been as of late. Tampa Bay Rowdies, I mean, the draws on the end there are intriguing. They're kind of leaving some points there on the table, but they're Tampa Bay. You know where they'll be when it's all said and done. Where I'm curious to see Loudoun United, we've talked about them where they're not the Loudoun United that you've been grown accustomed to over the last couple seasons. They're different, and I think that we're seeing that in the way that they play, the way that they hang in matches, and those types of things. Rhode Island FC, I'm still not sure what they are yet. I mean, I know that they got quality players and stuff like that. I'm just curious to see how it shakes out for them over the next couple matches. Because remember, again, we talk about this all the time. This thing starts in March and goes till October. We're a long, long way from the finish line. Indy 11's kind of perplexing because on paper, maybe they should be better than what their record indicates right now. The schedule has been really, really tough for them. And watch out, I'm telling everybody, and I know this starts this Saturday, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They had roster shock coming into this season. They lost high quality players. But Bob Lilly's Bob Lilly for a reason, man. And I know there's no love lost between Detroit City FC and the fans and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and they played huge matches. Watch out for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. That's what I'm telling everybody right now. They will not be in 11th place when this is all said and done. I promise you that.
Well, and let's get into this a little bit. Obviously, we're going to talk about the next matchup here in a second, but let's take a look at the week's results here as a whole from this past week. And we take a look at Pittsburgh, and they beat Phoenix Rising 3-1 here this past Saturday. And obviously, that's their first win of the season, but they got some ties. I think they're on the rise.
No, they are, no doubt. And that's kind of an eye-opening victory, right? When they get that win against Phoenix Rising in the fashion that they did. And, again, that's just another indicator. Loudoun United kind of hanging tough with Louge City as well. I was a bit surprised to see that. But Loudoun United, as I said, they're different. They're built different. They're not going to threaten to win the Eastern Conference or anything like that, but they're going to be a problem when you face them. And I know Detroit City has them on the road coming up, I believe, in 2 weeks, as a matter of fact. But Rhode Island got their win as well. Tampa Bay, the draw against El Paso. But Charleston, you know, the wheels keep turning for Charleston and Ben Pierman, man. The bottom line is Ben Pierman's a good coach. He certainly is a very, very good coach. And I figured this was going to happen with Charleston, and here they are.
And taking a look at some other results here from around the league, and anything stand out to you here in these results outside that Pittsburgh matchup?
Just kind of the way that I was. Hartford was a bit disappointing because they got off to a good start, but now they seem to kind of be regressing to where they have been in the past. So, and again, there's no shame in losing to San Antonio. They're always a quality side. And the draws with Tampa are a bit perplexing, but they're Tampa, man. They'll be fine.
No question about that. Let's take a look here now at the upcoming match. We talked about Pittsburgh here already, but here they are. We're heading to Pittsburgh on Saturday night. A 7 p.m. kickoff. The Riverhounds currently, as we talked about, down towards the bottom three of the table here right now, but they're on the rise.
No, they are. And again, that old axiom that I was just talking about, it's not who you play, it's when you play them. Pittsburgh Riverhounds, they look like they're getting it together. We will say that. So, and it's a tough environment. And look, you're going to be up against it. When you play at Pittsburgh, you're going to be up against it. And Detroit City FC, any kind of result at Pittsburgh, I deem to be a good result. Now we're getting greedy right now, right? Like you want to keep the machine rolling and stuff like that. But the start that they've gotten off to kind of allow you that liberty, right? Where if you can get in there, you can get any kind of result, certainly you'll take it. Yeah, you want to get all 3 points, no doubt about it. But it's going to be a test, man. And it's Bob Lilly, and it's a Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and it's Highmark Stadium, and it's a tough environment to win in. And I'll have the call for you, as a matter of fact, on 50 Detroit. We'll have that for you at 7 p.m. So looking forward to having that here on TV in Detroit.
I was just going to ask that question, where could you watch it? But you stole my thunder. But it's
sorry,
okay.
man.
No, it's okay. But taking a look at the week ahead here, again, this is week 8 coming up here, everybody. Looking at this, here are the matchups. Obviously, we see Detroit City there on Saturday in Pittsburgh, but some big games coming up here around the league.
No, it is, and it's another week of action. And we talked about the spot in the table where Detroit City is. Now you can keep an eye on some of those other matches like Indy 11 and North Carolina, because those have Eastern Conference implications as well. You just kind of hang out and root for draws all the time. Like that's the way you do that. But that's the chair that you have in the game right now because of the start that you got off to. That's something that you're able to do. Birmingham, they'll have a big home match against Memphis as well. Keep an eye on Birmingham. They're always a very solid club as well. Charleston against Las Vegas. They'll be at home. Las Vegas with a tough test.
That it will be, and I mean, hey, we're getting really efficient at this, Neil, and we're talking now 16 minutes and got this thing done.
Yeah, all right, I love it, man. I'm always for that. I want to get you. That's the point, though. That's the point. The Detroit City FC recap. That's the point. We want to get you in. We want to get you out and get you on about your day.
No overtime.
No extra time. Absolutely not. I'm the Maxi Rodriguez, I guess you would say, of broadcasting.
That's right. Hey, the goal: get through this, get you the content, get you. Hey, the reality is as we kind of grow this recap show, Neil, there'll be more things that'll be added in. For example, getting some highlights in of the games. We'll hopefully get in some of those here in the coming weeks. That way we could add those in here as well and talk a little bit about goals and actually seeing things that are happening on the field. That'd be kind of a nice thing to add in to the recap show. But hey, if it's your first time stopping by here and watching the recap show, hit that subscribe button, like us, share this with all of the Detroit City FC faithful. Hey, even within the USL Championship, because I don't know how many recap shows are taking place across the USL Championship of this nature. But hey, if you want to see new things too, something different, let us know. Want to have a question or a comment, anything related to Detroit City FC and the USL Championship, hey, you have a way of connecting with us. Put it right in the comments section of the video and let us know how we can continue to make this show better.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Jonathan said, kind of share it with other Detroit City FC fans. Nobody is bringing you Detroit City FC content like we are here. And I try to do this too. My show on Woodward Sports Network on Big D Energy from 11 to 1 on Thursdays. We talk to Trevor James. So we are doing what some of the Detroit media is not doing, and that is delivering you Detroit City FC centric content. So make sure you help us out here and just kind of spread the word.
All right, well, hey, that's a wrap here on this Detroit City FC recap show. Week number 5 is in the books. We'll be back here next week for more recap of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds matchup and much more.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.